All right. Welcome, Survivor Michigan Keep Your Torch Lit podcast fans. This is Sam.
This is Jack.
And this is Sarah.
We are coming to you live after Michigan spring break. So that is the reason why you've not heard from us in a little while, because Jack's been too busy partying it up in New Orleans, or New Orleans, whichever you prefer. Boozing it up.
Yeah, I ran into Keith Nail, actually. You know, he took me on a ride in his tut-tut. It was really nice. We just went through the suburban street for a while. No, that's a lie. But who was actually getting busy was Sarah, representing us on the Real Survivor Michigan podcast, on the covering the whole pre-merge. Yeah. Nice work.
I was very honored when George asked me to be on that. Yeah. But Jack, weren't you also in Florida?
I was all over the place.
Oh, did you travel the world?
Yeah. There's no place. Like we did this weird thing where like we went to New Orleans for a few days, and then one of our friends had a condo in St. Pete, and so we went there for the next few days. So it was, we didn't have to pay for a hotel. We got a cheap little Spirit Airlines flight. It like dropped like for like 1 or 2 seconds. Literally was in like complete free fall. But it was so weird. Everybody's like looking around, like, is this how we die? But we ended up being okay. That's just what you get when you pay for Spirit Airlines.
That's like Jeff Probst in the beginning of Survivor Australia, making the planes do the dive just for fun.
Exactly.
You need to find a way to relate it to Survivor. On that note, we should talk about Survivor because we have a lot to talk about. This is actually going to be a little bit of a marathon podcast, so hooray for you, because you obviously, hopefully, have enough free time to listen to this. We're going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8 of Survivor Michigan, and this very fun podcast with a very fun guest who we will introduce later. So, without much further ado, let's start talking about Survivor Michigan Season 1, Episode 7 is going to be absolute chaos.
False at this one, right? So is that we're still keeping up the unique name? The unique.
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think that's the next. Wow. And if I remember correctly, every single episode has a different person featured in the photo as well.
Oh, in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Thumbnail. That's what it's called. Yes.
This one
featured in this one.
This one was Leah and Cooper.
Leah and Cooper. Oh my goodness.
Drew's wearing Cooper now.
Whoa! Wait.
What?
Wait. Cooper? Wait.
Cooper?
Hello?
You didn't tell me that Cooper was here? Why did you freaking tell me that Cooper was here?
Hello?
The whole time you had Cooper in the back room, and you didn't tell me that Cooper was here.
I knew it. Of course you were here.
Of course.
Surprise. It is Cooper. Glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Wow.
So honored.
I'm starstruck right now.
See, he's sitting right across me in those glasses, the famous glasses, that famous Cooper smirk. It's so weird marathoning the show, and all of a sudden he's right in front of me. Sorry you guys don't get to see his beautiful face.
I'm actually thinking of being Cooper for Halloween, so I might need to borrow some glasses.
Yeah. The glasses, get the what do you think he's wearing? Which item of clothing, Sarah? See if you can guess.
I'm gonna guess a gray, like, long sleeve hoodie sweater.
Oh, you were so close. Off on the color.
Oh, what's on the sweatshirt?
What's on the sweatshirt?
Michigan.
You nailed it.
There we go. Cooper's always going to be representing the maize and blue. He's just has such patriotism for Michigan.
And Cooper does seem to have a favoritism almost maybe towards Maison. Maize.
Oh.
I am wearing some maize right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. We'll probably get into that later. Yeah. Which tribe is my new tribe?
Looks like Cooper has changed his jersey to Maison.
But that's hours from now.
Absolutely. Because right now we are talking about Maison, but we're not talking about Cooper and Maison. We are talking about Maison and them having to go back. Well, their swap tribe. The whatever however the new Maison is pronounced. Maizoon? Is that what it is?
Is there a new
I
of the name? Like
As far as I knew, it was just New Maison. Nula had the cool name.
Yeah, Nula definitely is easier to pronounce.
Nothing really stuck, but New Maison.
But New Maison has gone to Tribal. Levana's tribe has gone to Tribal, and sadly, the head of the tribe, the captain, who wasn't sure how tribe swaps worked, has now been booted from her own tribe, the tribe of people that she chose. It's just
so rude. They do that to their captain, and it's crazy because Matthew was going through so many different scenarios, 1,000 different scenarios. What happened at Tribal was the 1,001th scenario.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite unfortunate. He missed the only scenario.
Yeah.
But Mitch was happy about it.
Ooh, yeah, he was so happy.
He's so happy.
I'm so happy I can just call my mother. I think our Mitch accents are becoming slightly Canadian.
Yeah. We're out of practice a little bit.
Yeah. It's been a while. You've been on a spring break, and Jack is trying to fight the southern twang that he's gotten from the south. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, he might have to get some time to kind of readjust. But yeah, Mitch was very happy. No, but Brittany was not as happy. She had received votes enough to make it tie. That's definitely not a great feeling.
No.
Going into Tribal and having your vote name come up 3 times out of a group of 6.
Especially because she wanted to play the perfect game,
Yeah, Brittany is, I think it's funny because near the beginning of the season, I feel like we kind of saw Brittany as somebody who it seemed like she wasn't super sure of herself, wasn't super emotional. I think we're definitely seeing this different side of Brittany come out over time, where she's a lot more confident in herself in front of the camera. She's definitely an open book. I think that I definitely didn't get that from her at the very beginning of the season, but I think we've definitely been seeing that Brittany is not afraid to show her emotion, because she definitely, I think, is somebody who feels very, very strongly about the game. She felt very strongly about Mitch and how Mitch was a snitch. Mitch was a you-know-what. Now she's feeling very strongly about these 3 votes that she's just gotten to Tribal Council.
Yeah, and so we also get a meeting after Tribal with Mitch and Leah, where Leah gives the idol back to Mitch, and this is when they decide that Maison is sticking together and Anila is definitely going home this week.
Maybe not.
Oh, man. Maybe not. Maybe not if Cooper has something to do with it.
Maybe not. I do want to jump back to that. I don't know if you guys covered this, but what did you guys think of so Thal obviously flipped on Levana, but Mitch was willing to go to Rocks for Brittany. And that, obviously they had a little bit of a shaky relationship. Where do you guys think their relationship is at now after that?
Well, it's definitely, I think that the Mitch and Brittany relationship is going to be one to look after, especially kind of looking forward. It's hard when we have 2 episodes to cover, but especially when Matthew's gone and Brittany has kind of lost her number 1 person in the game. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to think of this story. Are they really going to start to get close together if he's going to Rocks for Brittany, or are they going to kind of start to pewter out again? Definitely going to be something to look at.
Yeah, I do think a part of it was kind of self-preserving, at least. I don't know. This is my guess because I can't know exactly what was going on in their heads. But that, I think they kind of knew that Thal was going to flip. I think you had to think that, that would be on their minds, that Thal, it was kind of a game of chicken. They kind of knew that he was going to be the first one to veer off. And also, if Mitch had flipped, it actually would have been a double flip. So it's actually very good that he didn't flip, because then he would have had to draw Rocks. So my guess is that a part of him had to have been thinking that Thal would end up flipping on Levana because, they kind of knew they weren't extremely close. At the same time, too, it's Brittany is a number. The Maison versus Nila division at this time is still pretty strong. And yeah, once it was gone to that tie, you don't want to be the one that gives up the numbers, That's my thinking, but I guess Cooper might have some insight too. Maybe.
Yeah, I think there was definitely talk. Obviously, you see Thal and Mitch sharing a lot of information before that Tribal, and I think there was talk very shortly before it that Thal, if it came to it, was going to flip. So I think that was definitely planned beforehand, and Mitch knew that he should not be the one flipping and that Thal was going to.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of good plans, Cooper, were you the one that came up with the check mark thing to see who had an idol and was willing to play it?
Yeah. Is that in episode 8 or 7?
That's episode 7.
That's 7. Yeah.
So this was the Neela meeting minus Kara, who was still exiled.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
So I talked to both Akshay and Tarowski a little bit before I knew the 5 of us were going to meet up. And Akshay and I pretty much knew that Tarowski had the idol, but the main thing we wanted was for someone to come out and say that they not only had it, but were willing to use it more as a group idol, knowing that it was 3-3 on both of the tribes and that we needed the numbers going into merge. So, my plan was somehow get somebody to admit that they had the idol and were going to be willing to share it with whichever tribe went to tribal that week. And sadly, both tribes did. So it turned into a little bit more of a mess, but we did know that after that there was a group idol out there. So good news.
So before you came up with this plan, did you have any inkling that Tarowski had an idol?
Yeah, so it was pretty obvious that it was either Tarowski or Thal. I mean, Akshay and I were very open, and I trusted that he didn't have it, and I knew I didn't. And Angela and Kara weren't playing as hard as the Alexes, so I figured they didn't. And then when Thal went to tribal and no idol was played there, I mean, all eyes were on Tarowski at that point. So it was pretty obvious he had it, and I think that is one of the reasons that he did put down the check mark and kind of reveal that, hey, yeah, somebody has it, and I'm willing to use it as a group idol.
Yeah. Were you surprised that he put down the check mark? Did you think that he would tell the truth? Or
I was actually really surprised. Akshay and I had talked about this a little beforehand, and we'd kind of come up and said, hey, like, I think we can get this plan into motion and like at least have people write down an X or a check mark, but we didn't actually know if anybody was going to like share that information. Mm-hmm. We really thought that no check mark was going to be like written. And you literally see Tarowski's opening the first like sheet of paper and he goes, it's a check mark. And we all kind of like freaked out because we knew somebody had it, but like the fact that somebody was willing to share that was kind of amazing.
Yeah. I thought that was a really kind of like funny / like, I almost felt like in a weird way, like awkward in this scene. Everyone was like super like excited and like / like freaking out the idol. Cause I'm like, okay, like the people that are surprised clearly know that it's not them. Uh-huh. Just like everyone kind of like knew that it was Tarowski, but pretending that they didn't know it was him. Like it felt like kind of a weird, like actually it's like, oh my God, like someone actually does have it. Like Cooper's like freaking out and like, you know, Angela's freaking out and just like Tarowski and Thal are both like, oh wow, that's crazy. What? Like who has it?
Like, I don't know why Tarowski wouldn't just like come clean at that point. Like, why he was like, all right, yeah, it was me. Yeah. Like, why does he keep the charade going up?
Yeah, I mean, he was in pretty deep. I mean, at this point, it's like a month in, and everybody knows the idol's been found like multiple weeks ago. So everybody's been denying for weeks. So for him to like come out and say it publicly would have been an interesting move. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think him just putting down the check mark and at least saying he was willing to share it with other people was good enough for most of us in the sense that we knew it was going to help Neela with tribal that week.
Yeah, you didn't really. I guess you wouldn't. The fact that he was willing to say that he had it is enough where you didn't want to force him to like say like he has it. Like you're like willing to kind of give him that leniency. I guess so I can see that.
So Cooper, you have this great plan for if your tribe is going to tribal council or if the other tribe is going to tribal council, and then we get to the challenge, and then George tells us both tribes are going to tribal council.
Yeah, I was not happy. I was angry at George. We had just come up with this beautiful plan earlier that day. Whichever tribe went was going to get the idol, was going to be in a power position to get a Maison out that week, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're both going. And everything is thrown into absolute chaos, as Thal says, for the title.
Oh, man.
So you've been pretty good at challenges up to this point. Did any part of you think about maybe purposely losing this challenge so you wouldn't have that target on your back?
Yeah, I mean, so throwing challenges was always kind of in the back of my mind, especially after the memory one. But I really just get into competitions, and I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm in it, and I'm in it to win it. So it's hard for me to throw challenges. It's pretty impossible. So I didn't last super long in this one anyway, but I mean, I was trying. I wasn't even trying to throw it, so I was just bad at this one.
So flex. Yeah, it's pretty impossible for me to throw challenges. It's just, I'm just so good that I just can't help but win them.
So too competitive. I'm too competitive. I can't do it. My body won't let me.
Was that George's dad? I think George's dad makes another cameo here.
Yeah.
I think that we saw him in one of the
both
frames.
his parents.
Both his parents.
Mr. and Mrs. John Ye.
It's a family business.
Yeah.
How cute. Aw.
Yes, George's parents got a lot of love. They became frequent helpers, and we loved them both, and are very thankful that they would come to challenges and film and do everything that George needed them to do.
Yeah, we definitely got to see a lot of the back of George's dad. This time we get a nice side shot. It's just we're getting maybe one day we'll see the front of George's dad in another challenge. I mean, we're definitely seeing George's dad just kind of be the unsung hero of season 1 so far.
Yeah, I think last challenge we got like a butt shot of him, so we're just getting all angles.
Whoa! Oh, I mean, I wasn't gonna say that. That's what I was thinking.
George's dad, dark horse to win. You heard it here first.
Dark horse
I mean, pretty good at it. A little under the radar.
Yeah.
So Akshay was the first one out in this challenge, and I feel like a big part of this challenge was kind of like him and all his remarks that he was making during it. Did you have any thoughts on this and like why he was doing that and like what your reaction was?
Yeah, Akshay during this challenge was wow. He was first one out, and for the rest of it was really just heckling people. I mean, anyone from Brittany to like Thal and Kara. I mean, he was all over the board with he was leaving no stone unturned. He was going after anyone and everyone. During the challenge, I didn't really understand what was going on. Afterwards, I talked to him a little bit, and I mean, it was kind of just to like try to rattle people, and B, try to throw off Maison still about that he wasn't working with Thal and Kara, and that he was kind of pissed at Thal for flipping on Lavana the past week. But yeah, I mean, overall, he just went so overboard with it, and especially with Brittany was just yeah. Akshay and Brittany, this is where the relationship really just gets fun. Yeah, it starts here.
Akshay definitely knows how to get under people's skin. I think especially Brittany, he kind of knows what it takes. I thought it's been interesting how Akshay's kind of turned into the villain in this season because it wasn't something I necessarily was expecting from the very beginning. But yeah,
he's always been kind of snarky, but like this challenge, he just turned it all the way up to 11.
It seems like he enjoys it.
Yeah,
I think that he's kind of embracing this villain role as much as he can. This is kind of going to the future a little bit, but I think that Thal comments on this in the next episode. I think that he just has fun with this. I think that this is like something that this is just part of Akshay, his personality. He likes these little snide remarks. Yeah, I think he might be playing it up a little bit, maybe to get under people's skin and maybe mess them up. Part of it too is like this is part of his personality is this sarcasm. You know, he's definitely kind of like embracing it to an extent, and maybe went a little bit overboard in this challenge because it seems like he definitely got a lot of people upset with him.
Yeah, I think allies and foes alike were confused and upset with Akshay's comments during that challenge. So,
but I think it was definitely it made for very good entertainment.
That is,
I was I don't know if I was confused or upset as much as I was like, this is great. Let's have more of this. Keep going, Akshay.
Yeah,
let's see what happens.
Keep going. It made the challenge more fun to watch.
Yeah, I think George said that Matthew is shaking like a leaf, and Akshay asked, "What does a leaf shake like?" He's even going under George's skin a little bit.
So Cooper, I wanted to ask you a question. So, who were you kind of rooting for to win immunity if it wasn't going to be you? Like, who was your ideal people that would win?
Yeah. So, on my tribe, I mean, at this point, it's very much Neela and Maison. It's 3-3 on both. We just had our meeting about we're staying Neela strong. We're using our group idol. So I was very pro Neela. So I wanted whatever Neela on the other side to win and a Neela on my side to win, preferably. And then, I mean, Leah would have been fine too with me. So really, I wanted anybody but Cam and Liz on my side. And they were both very good at this challenge. So it made this week a little bit difficult for me.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that, like, I think Cam is very underrated as a challenge threat. Through the season, I think that he's performed pretty well. I don't know how much it's been shown in the edit of people talking about him being a challenge threat. Maybe people did talk about that more than I thought. And Cooper can probably comment on that. But I feel like people haven't talked about Cam being a challenge drive, but he's been doing well in a lot of the challenges. And this one, he gets, as we'll see, very, very close to winning immunity. I think he gets 3rd place overall, right? Was it just down there and Kara? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Cam wins that week, this season is obviously very different. Liz potentially goes home, and the season is very different. But Cam, like you said, is definitely a challenge threat, and I think people did kind of know that, especially after, I think, week 2 with the ping pong paddles and him just really dominating that, and then he was good at this, along with other challenges as well. So people definitely did know that Cam was in it to win it for all the challenges.
Especially when he took the sling off. You know, when the sling's coming off, then
the sling came off and he was ready.
Oh, man. Now, Kara has come back from Exile Island. So, first of all, I was a little bit confused about what this meant for the game, because it said earlier in the edit that she was unable to meet because she was still exiled. So, what exactly what did it mean to be on Exile Island in Survivor Michigan?
Yeah, so I believe that Kara was not allowed to talk game with anybody. So until she came back for the next challenge, I think it was a no-go on talking to people. She really mostly talked to the Alexes anyway, so it wasn't a huge hindrance for most people, especially once the other tribe lost. She was going to be on their tribe, and I personally didn't really have any reason to talk to her because it wasn't going to affect my voting strategy for when we had to go to tribal. But yeah, I believe Exile she was not allowed to talk or communicate with anybody in the game until she was officially back in and on the tribe.
Yeah, it must have sucked because I know she was talking to so many people.
maybe not, but
oh man. Yeah. Well, Kara, I think that somebody in the YouTube comments has called her the Queen in Crutches, the Queen of Crutches, or something along those lines. I really like that nickname. She just hobbles right in on her crutches and then destroys everybody in the immunity challenge. I definitely was not expecting her to win because I think we just haven't seen a ton of Kara. No one's really spoken of her as being a threat, so far. Mm-hmm. So I kind of love that she won that. She was the person that wasn't picked to be on the tribe. Now she kind of proves everybody wrong in a sense by winning immunity. So I thought that was kind of a cool moment for her.
Yeah, and that definitely affected everything that went on this week because if she's not immune, that whole tribal goes very differently if a Maison is immune and not her. So, yeah.
True.
The Neela tribe was not good at this challenge. I believe 5 out of the first 6 people out of this challenge were from Neela. So she won it before I was even out, and I was not good at this challenge. So, but still props to her. She did win it all. So, and that definitely helped Neela this week.
4 people got hidden immunity idol clues after this challenge, right?
Yes.
So it was Thal and Kara and Cam and Liz. So then there was this whole group that were staking out waiting for the idol clue to come out. Were you part of any of this?
No. So,
okay.
Fun fact, I believe me, Akshay, and Angela were the only ones not at this big idol hunt. Maison, the Maison 6 was very strong, and Liz and Cam, I think, shared their clue pretty much right away with the rest of Maison. They may have kept it for a little bit, but they wanted a Maison to find it, so they shared it right away. Thal and Tarowski and Kara did not feel the same way, and we did not get the idol clue, I believe, until after the idol was already found. So, say what you want about how that affected me and Tarowski's relationship moving forward, but yeah, me, Akshay, and Angela were not part of that.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because you mentioned a group being there, and I was unsure of what that group actually was.
Tarowski told all of Neela that he found it, but he was ripping plants out of the ground. And then when Leah was looking for her idol back in the day, she was whacking bushes. So really, campus has just been ruined by these idol hunts.
All this vandalism.
Yeah.
Cooper had dug all the sand out of the volleyball.
Yeah.
There's no sand left, actually. It's gone to this day.
Yeah, he had taken out all the sand except for the couple grains that were covering the idol.
The last 3 grains that were covering the bag.
Yeah. Then Krosky just came right in and just blew a little puff of air over it and picked up the idol.
Yeah. But I think I can give you guys a little more insider info on the idol hunt there. So I believe at one point there was the 9 of them there, the 6 Maisons, the Alexes and Kara. and it was pretty much a free-for-all where the 9 of them were all in the same spot. They knew it was right around there, and we're all just looking for the idol. And like Tarowski says, he just like looked back at the clue, like followed the directions like to a T, like ripped up some plants, and like there it was. So like nobody like really, everyone knew where it was, but nobody followed the clue, I guess.
Do we know what the clue was? Do you have any idea like what the actual words the clue was? Because I don't think that was in the episode.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I think it was. It said something about being in between a very social building and a very educated building on campus. And the School of Social Work and the School of Education are right next to each other, and there's a courtyard in between them. So it was pretty obvious that that's where it led. And then people just started digging up the plants in there. And Tarowski went back and did it and pulled it up, and obviously was very public about, hey, I have the idol. Everyone can stop looking. Like,
Yeah.
that's that.
So what do we think about his decision to opt to just tell everybody that he just found the idol rather than keep it a secret? Because at first glance, it might sound like that's dumb to do, but there's a little bit more strategy behind that, I think.
Yeah. Cooper, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it helped us a lot that week because people there were rumors circulating, obviously, that Tarowski had the first Mila idol, and then he pulls up the second one. So now it's pretty open knowledge that Tarowski has or probably has 2 idols for most people. So it really turned Maison off from voting for him that week. Like, you got to think he's going to at least play one of those idols for himself. And I know he and Angela were going around and very adamant that Tarowski's going to play his idol. He just wants to be safe this week. And that ended up helping us a lot, that tribal, because he didn't even have to play it and kind of knew the votes were going towards Angela.
Yeah. I thought that was, I think Thal commented on that, like that basically by revealing to everybody that he had found the idol took him off the list of people to vote for, because you don't even want to risk voting for someone that has an idol, because they might not play it, but it's like you don't want to risk it. So I think that was really smart of him, and like very quick thinking to like see it and immediately think, if I tell everybody I have this, they're not going to vote for me, and I'll be safe.
Tarowski, I feel like, is very quick on his feet when it comes to Survivor.
He has really good instincts, I feel like, or at least like he's really good at just like following his instincts. Sometimes maybe those instincts aren't the right ones, but he's good at knowing what to do right away. I guess he doesn't waffle a lot.
He's good at following his gut. As they say.
Probably learned that in Ross.
Oh my gosh, the street smarts that Ross teaches you in street smarts class and their management class.
The Mitch accent's coming out again.
Alex finds the idol. He now has 2 idols. Crazy stuff.
Crazy.
Crazy.
But you know who also has an idol?
Who?
Leah.
Whoa.
She had an idol this whole time?
What?
News to me, guys.
Wow.
News to me.
And she's kind of like, she can't keep it to herself anymore, you know?
Yeah. It seems almost like Cooper's the last person that knows about it.
Well, yeah, because first she tells the people in this car who
Cam and Liz.
Yeah, Cam and Liz.
She says that she dug herself into a hole, which is funny because Cooper dug a hole trying to find the idol.
Hilarious.
It just surprised me because she was so careful the whole game about that. Like, she didn't even tell Cooper about it. And she like very, very after a long time of thinking about it, told Mitch. And now all of a sudden she's just telling people left and right. It seemed like to me kind of like inconsistent with kind of the way she'd been playing the rest of the game. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe this is consistent with her gameplay. Maybe she had decided that this was kind of needed for Maison to be able to survive the next tribals. But I was very surprised by that.
I can speak a little bit more to that. I think it was right after Tarowski had just found his second one, so they knew he had at least 1, if not 2 idols, and that they were going to tribal. So there was going to be a lot of idols floating around. So she probably figured that she was going to have to play hers, if not for her, for someone else. And at that point, I think she was upfront with Cam and Liz saying, hey, I have it. Like, let's try to do something with this. And the 3 of us come out on top this week.
Yeah, so I can see it being, making sense for her game. Kind of like being forced in the corner of like, man, we're going to swap tribes. Tarowski has 1, maybe even 2 idols. Like, kind of getting desperate at this point. These idols are becoming more and more common. For a long time, it seems like nobody knows about them. Then all of a sudden, everyone's knowing about idols and hearing things all over the place. Some people are even hearing things about idols that aren't even true.
What could this be?
Let's talk about the meeting between you and Cam, Cooper. Now, that was a pretty interesting meeting.
Yeah. So Cam and I are talking a lot this week, and I mean, both of us are pretty worried. Obviously, neither of us are immune. Neither of us have idols, or so I think at the moment. And so we're both trying to find a way for us to be safe. And I'm talking to a lot of the Maison members about trying to keep my name off the chopping block that week. So he and Leah concoct this plan where he's going to tell me he has an idol to hopefully get the votes on Leah so that she can play it for herself, in the hopes that I go back and tell Angela and Tarowski, obviously, hey, Cam has it. We can't vote for him. We need to vote for Leah. And I actually did not go back to Tarowski and Angela and tell them that. So I kept my word to Cam, and I kept that a secret. But obviously, it gets out a little bit later that it's not really his idol anyway.
Yeah, I thought at first it seemed like a decent move for Cam, but yeah, obviously he couldn't have predicted how close you and Leah were with each other. I'm kind of curious too about how much this factors into Cam getting voted out. If he would have played this a little bit differently, there could have been a way for him to end up surviving this tribal council. Because it seems like you actually did want to work with him at the time, and like we're totally on board with him until you kind of realized that he had been lying to you.
Yeah, so I actually wanted initially Angela to go this week. I wanted to work with Leah. I wanted to work with Maison and somehow find a way for Angela to go, which is why I was really pulling for Tarowski to give me the idol. But the week went on, and it was very clear Tarowski was going to give Angela the idol. And so I did have to kind of switch my plan because she was going to be safe. And the next person that I wanted out was probably Cam. So that's kind of how my plan at least shifted for the week.
Because you weren't going to want to vote against Leah?
Yeah, I wasn't going to vote against Leah. I mean, I really wanted to work with her. I did end up having to lie to her a lot that week, sadly.
You said that you initially want to get rid of Angela, and it seems like Leah and Liz aren't super high on Angela either. They were kind of Leah was definitely kind of salty about how the conversation with Angela went when the two of them met the previous week, and how Angela is very non-committal. I don't know. I don't know if this is completely fair to Angela personally. I think that they were basically trying to get her to flip, and Angela is just very much kind of holding her ground. And then they're like, oh, that's so dumb. How come she's holding her ground? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think that as you can kind of see, ends up being the smart move for Angela. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny how they were like really mad at Angela for how the meeting went I was like, oh, it seems like Angela's just playing the game to me.
Yeah, because like on the outside, it seems like Maison is strong, so she would think that she'd be at the bottom. And I feel like she doesn't necessarily think she's at the bottom of Nila because I feel like she thinks she's close with the Alexes. So like in her mind, like it doesn't make sense to flip,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what we'll get into, I think, more in the next episode. Like,
yeah,
she definitely, I think she was in the majority with Anila too, being her, Kara, and the Alexes kind of being the majority 4 within the 6. So right now she's sitting pretty. She's in the majority in her alliance. She's allied with somebody who has 2 idols and is going to play an idol for her at tribal council. Like, she's sitting pretty good. There's no reason for her to want to flip at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so Cooper, how did Tarowski know to play the idol for Angela?
Yeah, so Tarowski and Angela did a lot of work that week convincing Maison that Tarowski was going to play at least one idol for himself. Mm-hmm. So they weren't going to vote for Tarowski, which left me and Angela. And obviously, I was super close with Leah, so I was kind of trying to spill what I could to her that week. What I told her and Liz and Cam was that Tarowski was going to play one for himself and that he had promised me the other idol. So I was like, you need to vote for Angela. I'll flip on the revote. And I think you get a little bit of that in the episode. But Tarowski and Angela did a good job of convincing them not to vote for Tarowski. And I did my part in convincing them not to vote for me. So all eyes were on Angela, and we were 99.9% sure that that's where the votes were going, which is why we were able to then split the votes.
Yeah.
And do what we needed to do.
That is ballsy, splitting the votes in a 6-6, in a 3-3 scenario. And props to you guys for pulling that off.
Yeah.
It would have been pretty bad if it ended up being 3 votes or you or whatever.
Yeah, it definitely left me in a little vulnerable position. Like, obviously, if I get those 3 votes somehow and Leia's lying to me the whole week, then it's me going, because I don't have an idol that's being played for me. Because Tarowski pretty much had said, I'm playing the idol for Angela. Angela's getting the votes. So, yeah, it left me a little bit open, but I was pretty confident that Leah was telling me the truth. They were going to vote for Angela, and I knew they only had 1 idol on their side, and I wasn't going to go to rocks, but if we had put 3 on, say, Leah or Cam, and the idol is played right over there, then there's only a couple other people, and I'm one of them, that aren't somehow immune. Yeah. So on some kind of revote, I'm getting votes or I'm pulling rocks or something. So I think Tarowski came up with it, and I was 100% on board. Let's split the votes, and they can only play 1 idol. So one of them is going home, because we're pretty confident they're putting votes on Angela.
Yeah, that 3-1 was really, really cool to see. I think that it definitely relied a lot on the fact that you were very close with Leah, and or basically kind of like protected through that. All 3 of you kind of brought different things to the table, and by combining all the information you had, with both your relationship with Leah and Liz, and knowing that they were going to kind of protect you, knowing that Tarowski has 2 idols, and the fact that they were kind of like feeding this fake information, and you were kind of helping them feed this fake information, and combined with the fact that you're close enough with Leah that she's going to trust your word on it. I think all that combined together makes for a really, really good blindside.
And then you see Leah obviously play her idol once Angela's 3 votes are canceled. And this wasn't really shown in the episode, but obviously Leah thinks Angela's going home because I'm getting an idol. But I had actually told her before Tribal that we were splitting the votes, but I said that we were putting 2 on Leah and 1 on Cam. So I kind of forced her into playing her idol. Didn't leave her very happy with me the next week, but I wanted to protect my Neelas, and especially Akshay on the other side, because I knew if we couldn't pass an idol over there, or if Maison was able to pass an idol over there, that it was very likely Akshay going. And I really didn't want that to happen, because he was pretty much my only Neela really strong ally at that point.
Yeah, so if if Leah didn't play the idol on herself, would Tarowski then probably played the idol for himself and just left you vulnerable?
So I think Tarowski was actually pretty confident. We were all pretty confident Angela had gotten the 3 votes. Yeah. So I don't think he would have played his idol, and I think he wanted to keep Thal safe at the other tribal. So I don't think he would have played it. But what definitely could have happened was Leah gives the idol to Mitch, and then if Mitch is feeling ballsy, he plays it on Matthew, and Akshay goes, because obviously Thal's playing the other idol for himself. So, and then it's 5-5 going into merge, and who knows what happens then.
I always like to break down like what Maison could have done better. Like what could have their ideal plan been to at least to save themselves, or for Cam to save himself in the first tribal? How could they have gone against your plan, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the only way that Cam survives that week is if Leah lies to me and comes after me, so they put their 3 votes on me and I go, or Leah convinces me to work with them and split the vote against Tarowski and Angela. So I think Cam was pretty much cornered by Leah's options and what she wanted to do and how much she wanted to lie to me. And she wasn't really willing to lie to me that early. Obviously, she had with the idol, but I was definitely willing to sacrifice a little bit of that relationship to give Neela the numbers going into merge, and I don't think she was at that point, which sadly for Cam meant that he got his torch snuffed.
Yeah, I don't know how much more Cam really could have done differently than what he did. I mean, when I think about it, because it's like out of the 3 Maison, Leah is going to be protected by Cooper, so she's not going to get the most, and has the idol too. Yeah, so Leah gets herself safe there, and Liz is immune. So there's not really a lot that he can do there, especially because of the idol. Like, the only chance is if Cooper decides to flip over to the other side, and ultimately he decided not to. So I don't know. Is there any more you think that Cam could have done in order to convince you to stay with him, Leah, and Liz?
That's tough to say. I mean, Cam and I did talk a lot that week, and he was talking a lot to Tarowski too. So he really was doing what he could to survive and try to keep votes off of him. But Neela just really, if we were going to stick together, which we were pretty confident we were going to do, like, it was going to be hard for him not to go that week. Just Liz had immunity, Leah had an idol, and if it was going to be a Maison, it was just literally by default.
It has to be him.
So his only option was to somehow get me on the Maison side, and I just wasn't willing to do that week.
I think his best bet this week was keeping his hand a little bit more steady for a few more minutes.
Yeah.
In the immunity challenge.
That was.
Yeah.
It really was. That's I think that's what made the difference for him. He was this close to beating Liz.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made the difference for him, but wasn't able to win it. And that's what happened.
Yeah, so eulogy for Cameron. So I really liked him as a Survivor player. He wasn't super big like personality like some other people, but I liked kind of when we did get a confessional from him, and he had just kind of like a little bit of like sarcasm and stuff, like, especially that one meeting early on. It's probably my favorite Cameron moment. Was like, yeah, so like, what do you like to do? Oh, that's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he talks about Brittany's dog.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, actually. Yeah, Cam was definitely, I think, a kind of like a calm presence. Pretty very, very chill guy is how I think he's been described. He had this little saga with his cast. I think that a couple of people now have been defined by injuries that have happened during the game. He had his little bromance with Matthew, and this comes in the end for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he was a decent challenge threat that just wasn't able to win the challenges he needed to.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if he could go on a run if he made the merge.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the travel 2 then.
This one seems to be a pretty big rivalry between Brittany and Akshay.
Oh, man.
Which kind of stems from the fact that I think Akshay thinks Brittany kicked him last week. But Brittany was like, I don't know. I think what happened, like, my opinion is I think Brittany accidentally, like, moved her foot and, like, kicked Akshay at the wrong moment. And, like, he interpreted it the wrong way. Like, I know Brittany did not intentionally kick Akshay, you know?
I will weigh in here and just say that, for the record, and I believe George has confirmed this, but the tribal has been watched over and over many times, and there's not a lot of movement from Brittany's legs. We're not gonna lie. So this rumor might be a little bit debunked. I'm not really sure what Akshay felt or was thinking, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Brittany's just very subtle about it, but no kick from what I've seen and what I've heard from George.
Yeah.
My guess is kind of what you were saying. Maybe she adjusted her foot or something and, touched his back. And then maybe he actually did think that he was kicked. Maybe he's trying to blow it out of proportion. We have seen him do that kind of thing already.
All senses are heightened during tribal council.
True.
So maybe he felt it as a huge kick, but it's tribal council, so
emotions run high at tribal council. Emotions are running high at this tribal council.
Exactly.
Guys, wait, I think I just cracked the code. Do you know what happened during that tribal council? That was the tribal council that who went home?
Oh.
I think Lavana had so many spirits around going in the air that it wasn't Brittany. It was just some spirits and ghosts she had called down and just had made a move.
Oh my god!
And it happened to hit Akshay. I feel like she maybe should have aimed it towards Thal because it was Thal was the one that flipped. Maybe Lavana's like messages were mixed up, but I really feel like that's what had to have happened.
Emotions are running high at tribal council. Yeah. Maybe that they were running so high that she got confused and kicked the wrong person.
You know what it was, guys? It was the short-term memory loss. She forgot who flipped.
Oh my
god!
She forgot who flipped and sent the kick through the ghost spirit.
She thought it was Akshay.
Wow. Gosh.
Oh, You're right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
It all makes sense now.
All makes sense. We cracked that code.
Crack that code. At least we know what happened.
It was Lavana with the short-term memory loss. There we go.
Yeah.
Wow. And ultimately, her short-term memory loss is what maybe ended her game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I'm curious, what did you guys think about Neil's decision to take out Matthew? Because obviously, if the three of them are sticking together, they pretty much have their choice out of the three, which one goes home.
Mm-hmm.
So did they make the right call, the wrong call? What do you guys think?
Especially because they know that there's no idol, that they didn't have one, so they really could choose whoever they wanted.
Because this gets going over it real quick. We end up having this tie vote between Akshay and Matthew. Yes, it was a 3-3 tie vote. But the thing is, after it ties, if it were to tie again, those two people will be immune. We already have Kara, who's immune from tribal council, and Thal plays his idol. That now means that the other two people, Brittany and Mitch, would either have to draw rocks or we had to draw a lot of rocks unless they decided to flip. So Neela's know that no matter what they do, all three of them will be immune, because Akshay will be immune from the tie, and then Thal and Kara immune from the immunity idols. So yeah, they can choose Matthew, Brittany, or Mitch to get rid of. As far as like the choice, yeah, I'm not really sure why Matthew over the other two. I mean, and he hasn't shown to be an extreme challenge threat, really. I don't know what he's done to really, differentiate himself as like more of a strategic threat than the other two. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, Cooper, do you know why they targeted Matthew?
Yeah, so, I mean, I wasn't at it, but obviously Neela's talking a lot about who we want to get rid of because it's pretty much our choice. So it did kind of come down to Matthew or Mitch. Brittany was kind of off the radar and wasn't seen as that big of a threat going into the merge that Neela maybe wanted to get rid of. So it came down to those two, and I think you saw it in the episodes, but Mitch just made more inroads, especially with Thal. And obviously Thal is in a lot of control on that tribal, and Kara's going to stick with him, and Akshay is the one getting the votes, so he kind of has to vote where Thal and Kara are voting. Mm-hmm. So Thal wants to protect Mitch and kind of just leaves Matthew at that point.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Matthew. I definitely could see him as being a threat going into the merge, and yeah, maybe he just didn't make the relationships that he needed to, like Mitch did. I'm sure he has 1,000, maybe even 1,001 theories of why he was voted out and what he could have done differently. Yeah, ultimately, we get the last and final juror, the king of Ponderosa. Oh, pre-jury Ponderosa. Matthew Israel. The saga has come to an end.
The lion has been slain. I'm a huge Matthew Israel fan. I thought he was very entertaining through these first 7 episodes. He really seemed like almost kind of like the narrator, at least at part.
Ultimately, in the re-vote, we see Mitch flips on Matthew. Anytime he talks about it later, he really had no choice. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody really expects him to draw rocks for Matthew at that point, because it'd be just him and Brittany drawing rocks. There's a 50-50 chance of going home. He really didn't have a choice at that point.
So like, I feel like in these tribals, when there's only like 6 people, it's not really like almost like who's being targeted. It's almost like a process of elimination of who's not being targeted. And so you kind of just like Matthew, I feel like just kind of got a little unlucky almost, because the other 2 people like weren't going to be targeted. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when there's more people, it's like that person is targeted for a reason. But then when there's less, it's like, oh, they're targeted because other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And really the same thing happened with Cam. I mean, the Neelas, we stuck together over there, and Liz was immune. Leah played an idol, and I mean, Cam by default. So kind of both Cam and Matthew just go out by like default.
Yeah.
I think for both, you might just have to say that there really wasn't much else they could do other than win immunity or find an idol, and they weren't able to do those things. So it's unfortunate, but I don't chalk it up as much to them, doing the wrong thing, as much as just Neela being so outstanding and having just such a coordinated plan that really just kind of works to perfection.
I guess maybe I'll fight back against that a little bit. I think that Matthew's main flaw, it was being too secure with Maison and not making enough Neela connections, like you kind of said earlier, Coop. Like, I feel like if he was more active, both like this week and even like the week prior, and just trying to form up like some better bonds with maybe you, Cooper, or maybe signing with the Alexes or whatever. Like, I feel like he could have maybe had more common ground. I don't know. Did you ever get to really talk with him in the game?
So the one time I talked to Matthew in the game was at the summit, actually.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, throwback to the summit. We met up there for a little bit, and then we went to Karowski's. Who knew it was Thal's house, too? We met there and talked, but that was the only time I got to talk to King Matthew in the game, because we were never on the same tribe, sadly.
Yeah. Wow. So, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Jack. But I think at this point it's really 50-50 between him and Mitch. So
and the reason they chose Matthew is because people felt better closer with Mitch.
That's true. So, but maybe then it would have been if he would have had more relationships, like then maybe him and Mitch are kind of on equal ground.
Yeah.
He would have. I don't know how much more he would have had it done in order to
That's
be
true.
like have more relationships that are even stronger than Mitch's relationships. You know.
I just always feel like in Survivor, there's always something that you can do. Like, I don't think there's ever a time when anybody is just completely screwed. Maybe it's a really, really hard thing if they do. Maybe there's like not a lot of chance of it happening. But I always feel like there's some avenue for you to make it through a vote.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll partly agree with that. I'll say that maybe in one episode or in 1 week, there might be zero things you can do, but there were things you could have done previously to that.
That you wouldn't be in this situation.
Like I'm thinking in this vote after the immunity challenge, I don't think that Cam really could have done anything to save himself. Mm-hmm. But what he could have done was win immunity. So I think there are certain points where there are certain points where like your last chance is gone. Now there's nothing. Mm-hmm. And that last chance, you never know when it's going to be. I think for Cam, it was an immunity challenge. I think for Matthew, it may have even been a week before he should have started building relationships. Mm-hmm. So you never know when your last chance is coming up. But I think that after that passes, there are points where there's really no turning back. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Because, I mean, strong relationships are built over time, you know? And so it's like, can't really, like, if you haven't been talking to someone, you can't just, like, become their strongest ally in, like, a couple days. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree. It's, like, built up over time when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Matthew is now gone. The person who I think actually named Maison.
Did he?
Whoa!
If I remember correctly.
Sure about that? Wait. So let me check my notes real quick. Oh wait, yeah. Matthew Israel named Maison.
Wow.
The first episode.
People forget.
Yeah.
At least his legacy will be continued through that
forever and always.
But that's he gets up. He gives Brittany one last hug.
I thought that was cute.
That was really cute.
But we now have said goodbye in one episode to both the Hawk and the Lemur of Matthew Israel and Cam. I almost said Cam Newton. That's not his name. Cam Rubino. Yeah. Both have been voted out. This first alliance, according to Matthew, in the game. I mean, unless you're going to count, the premium alliances. But yes, the first strategy talk of the game officially between Matthew and Cam, the Lemur and the Hawk, are now both gone in episode 7. They both have just missed the jury.
Can we talk about Matt's post-game confessional real quick? Guys, I loved it. It was so just fully Matthew in every way.
I like how he didn't film it right after. Like, he went home and filmed the confessional.
He did.
I'm sure that was half an hour
It was probably very long.
I want to ask George that, actually.
Yeah, we'll get back to you later in the episode of how long his... Let's give the over-under, and we'll see who's closest to the amount of time that Matthew's final confessional was. Let's put out some guesses. That's going to be a fun game.
I'm
gonna set it at 20 minutes. He's looking for over under on that.
I was gonna say 22.
All right, then. Well, Sarah says over then to 20. I'm gonna say over.
I should have said it higher. 20 was too low.
What do you say?
You heard it from Matthew himself. He doesn't. Who needs school when you have Survivor?
Oh my god.
Even after he was out, all he wanted to do was film a confessional.
Oh.
What's your over under guess, Jack?
Over for sure.
Over for sure.
Should have said it higher.
No matter what the number is, it's over for me.
All right.
Guys, we have to read Matt's Reddit post.
Oh yes, social media segment right now.
All right. We're going to jump into the social media segment.
So basically, some of us discovered that after Matthew was voted out, he made a very soulful Reddit post about his thoughts, and it was revealed after he got voted out, and now we're gonna read it.
All right, so this is a post to Reddit submitted on October 30th, 2017 by the user Swolverine19. Title of the post, "Is last pre-jury member a bad ending?" Here we go. Last night, I got voted out of my college fan-made Survivor as the 8th boot in an 18-person season. I'm 99% sure jury starts next week, making me the almost king of Ponderosa. Other notable 11th placers include Sarah Lucina, Aris, and Ethan. My final words as my torch was getting snuffed were, Boston Rob didn't make the jury the first time he played, neither did I. Doesn't mean I'm done yet. Just trying to start my campaign for an all-star season before my torch was even out. Funny thing is, like Rob, I had an ally called Amber too, since we're about as close as Rob and Amber. Whoa! My boot was one of epic proportions and one of the best strategic plays I've ever seen by people who were against me ended in my elimination. I don't want to go into detail and spoil things. Well, spoilers, Matthew. Good job.
Yeah.
But trust me, when Survivor Michigan Season 1 comes out, you will not want to miss it.
Wow.
He wasn't wrong. You didn't want to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to miss
it. Don't want to miss it.
And it's 50% upvoted. There's 0 points on it. There's 3 comments. One of them says, from an MZago1, it quotes his thing that said Boston Rob didn't make the jury the first time, and then this person says Boston Rob has never made the jury ever, which is actually true.
Oh, true.
And Wolverine responded, Boston Rob is a classic big or go home type player. He'll either get voted out late jury because he's a huge threat, or he'll take it all the way to the end. Is that true, Matthew Israel, as well?
Oh.
Let's see what George says. George has now answered our question. How long was Matthew's post-game confessional? And George says, Matthew sent 2 additional hours of footage the following day titled The Pre-Jury Chronicles.
2 hours!
My 20 minutes was a little bit off. Yeah. Good thing 3 of you all took the over. Yeah. Every one of you.
We're all cashing in.
2 hours.
I'm impressed. A 2-hour post-game confessional. That's legendary.
It's as long as these 2 episodes.
That's legendary.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
Where's George? George, can you post that 2-hour confessional?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to see it. This is more. This is just as exciting, if not more exciting, than episodes 7 and 8 of Survivor Michigan Season 1.
Oh my God.
The pre-jury chronicles. Oh goodness. Well,
amazing.
With that, we are closing out on episode 7 of Survivor Michigan and closing out on the pre-merge. What?
Whoa.
This has been a. You can do a quick. This has been a good pre-merge. Very interesting pre-merge.
And the thing is, there's so many great characters still alive. Like, I feel like it's so rare that I feel like everybody who made the merge, I have a really good idea of who they are. I really you're either rooting for them, you're rooting against them. They have all kind of unique play styles. I wish that, there's some people I definitely wish I could have made it further, like Matthew, like Sarah Gallagher.
Yeah, like the fashion icon.
Fashion icons.
Yeah. Of Shay and Nikhil. No. Lavana.
We had some great people that left in the pre-jury as well.
Yes. Yeah, the little tribute to Sarah, Jonathan,
Fallen Comrades,
Shay and Nikhil, and Cam, Matthew,
Lavana and Jess.
Jess. Yes, Jess. She cannot be bothered. She is not apologizing for her time at Survivor Michigan.
Sorry, not sorry.
She is not. Yeah, she is not sorry that she went to watch her brother's football game. Good for her. And I'm not sorry for the pre-merge of Survivor Michigan Season 1. It's been a wild ride. And I'm excited to see what happens in the next however many episodes through the merge of Survivor Michigan. It should be a wild ride to get to the end.
Well, it was so great talking to you guys. I cannot wait to talk with you about episode 8. But you know what? We have to go for now. Bye. Thank you for coming on.
Bye,
everybody. I love you. Love you, Cooper. Thanks for being a guest.
Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Keep Your Torch Lit.
Whoa, it's been a while.
Yeah. Can we all reintroduce ourselves in case you forgot?
Yeah. Who are you?
I'm Jack.
Oh, yeah, I'm Sam.
I'm Sarah.
And
I'm Cooper.
Whoa, Cooper's here.
I'm back
You're
again.
still here?
Whoa.
Wow. Have you just been waiting here this whole time for us to start the new episode?
Back at it again with a Maze hoodie.
Oh, my God.
Sarah, I'm actually still in my Maze Michigan hoodie.
Cooper James is an outfit repeater. We all know this.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Fashion icon. That's the opposite of a fashion icon. That's what Cooper is.
Oh, no. He didn't wear a choker, though. That's the thing. So I think that Cooper is very neutral. He's not making the risks that don't pay off, but he's not on Nikhil's level. And I don't know who else is, though. That's the thing.
There's not a lot of people.
It can't be.
Cooper is very reliable. I'll say that. Well, no, it's not old reliable.
No.
Cam and Matthew, because they're gone. Whoa. Poor Cam and Matthew.
Okay, so the episode title is I Don't Like Getting Lied To, which Leah said. Has she said a title yet?
No, she is not.
All right.
Unique.
Oh,
Wow.
Unique names.
this is amazing.
I wonder how long you can keep this up for.
So the episode starts immediately after Tribal Council. So first we're talking about the Tribal Council in which Matthew has been voted out. And Brittany is kind of clearly upset here. And she was just talking about Akshay and how she's just upset about how he treats people at the bottom. Yeah.
Do you know who had a lot to say was Mitch, and who he had to say it to was his mother.
His mother.
You know that Mitch had to go and call his mom after that's such a stressful tribal.
I actually-
Canadian.
Yeah.
I laughed out
Yeah,
loud.
Mama
when
didn't
this
go out.
happened.
Yeah. Cooper, you can try to do it.
Cooper, you do your best.
Oh
Mitch.
boy, I feel like you just have to go for the Canadian accent.
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty close.
hey, I'm Mitch A. Is that close at all?
The worst. It's the worst.
Is it possibly
Anyone.
somehow worse than the three of yours?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I
You
don't
just said
know.
A twice.
Yeah.
I was going for Canada.
Okay. I think we gotta call Mitch's mom up and see she can judge who's the best.
Oh my gosh.
It's not me.
Who can which one of us can fool his mom into thinking that she's talking to Mitch? That's the real question.
I feel like Mitch calls his mom after every tribal because after the last episode, he was calling Liz and he was like, I gotta call my mom.
Oh, I think it's nice that he's letting his mom know about what's going on in the game and having somebody outside of the game he can talk to, or she's not gonna be spoiling his secrets or anything like that. Yeah, that was another classic Mitch moment. I feel like he talks about his mom a decent amount, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mitch is kind of upset about what happened. He talks about how he didn't really have a choice on turning with Matt against Matthew. And, obviously we see Brittany vote for Akshay just because, out of respect for Matt, not voting for him. But neither of them are going to go to Rocks. 50-50 chance of drawing it. There just wasn't a chance. They kind of just were defeated there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a sucky situation to be in for sure.
And Brittany's still kind of sad about what happened with Akshay, kind of taken aback by all of it.
Mm-hmm.
We see Thal apologize for Akshay's behavior. And he kind of thinks that Akshay probably does think he was kicked, but is just playing it up. Yeah, I definitely think that the kick is an interesting situation. This is a third episode now that it's been talked about, so it's kind of like lingering here. I'm interested to see how much it affects the relationship between Brittany and Akshay.
So Tarowski is trying to become a fashion icon because he told us how he wore his idols to class a couple times and misses them.
Oh, but how you can be a fashion icon if you just lost two of your best accessories? Like,
That's true. He's gonna
It's
have
like
to...
if Boots from Dora lost his boots. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna call him? It's just a monkey now.
Feet.
But Tarowski still has his legs at least. Those aren't going anywhere.
True.
Mm-hmm.
I still got the money.
Have we seen them in a while? I feel like he's shied away. It must be getting colder.
Yeah, this is around Halloween.
Yeah.
The Reddit post was October 30th.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dang, if this is the last, if we are not going to see any more Tarowski legs, I'm not sure if I can keep watching these episodes. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh
They're
no.
the main attraction for me.
Cooper, after Tribal, you were trying to talk to Liz and Leah, and they didn't want to talk to you.
I was, yeah. So, like I said, I had pretty much convinced all of Maison that I was getting an idol, Angela was not, and if they put their votes on Angela, everything was going to be perfect, and she was going home. Obviously, that was not the case, and I had to do a little bit of lying to Leah, which I will say she started by not telling me about her idol. We'll get into that later. But yeah, so Leah did not want to talk. I did talk to both of them right after and tried to explain what had happened without really telling them the truth. But obviously, you hear from Leah's confessional later. She wasn't really buying it. She didn't like getting lied to. Yeah.
Why don't you just come clean there? Like, you know that you've already been lying. Why do you keep lying to her? Why not just be like, all right?
So at that point, it was going into probably the merge, and I burned Liz and Leah pretty bad, but I also knew that I wanted me and Akshay to flip pretty soon to work with the Maisons. So I had to try to keep those relationships up, and if I had said, hey, like, I just really screwed you over this week, and that's why Neil is up 6-4 in numbers, I don't think they would have been too keen to work with me. So I would have limited my options, and I didn't feel like that was my best play. And if I just kept up I really thought it was Angela going home, like, the Maisons would just deal with it, and they would still want to work with me.
Yeah. And we did kind of you did kind of talk about that too in one of your confessionals, about how you kind of made this move in order to shift the power onto your side, so that now you're ahead 6-4 in the numbers, but by trying to keep your relationships tight with Leah and Liz, you'd be able to flip when you wanted to. So it definitely did seem the beginning part of this episode like everything was kind of going right for you, and I guess we'll kind of see later on how that changes, but for now you seem to be pretty confident that everything's going perfectly.
Yeah, I was riding high. We had our good Neela 6. We just come off some great votes there. We organized Matthew and Cam's demise. I still had a decent relationship with Leah and Liz. So I felt like I had options all over the place, but maybe that was not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
I have a general question about you and Leah. Before,
Yeah.
Going into the game, what did you guys have a plan about your relationship? Like, were you like, oh, we're gonna tell each other everything? Like, did you say anything?
Well, and also, can I kind of just have a add on to that question? Like, how close were you really as friends? Like, were you you weren't obviously as close as like Thal and Tarowski, but like.
Yeah, so obviously Thal and Tarowski live together. They're seniors, so they've known each other for 3 years. Leah and I are both sophomores at this point. So we met freshman year. We literally lived across the hall from each other in our dorms. So naturally, we just we're in the same friend group, and we were pretty close. So we were pretty good friends going into the season, and we're telling each other everything. It's final 2. This is how it's going to be, and we're going to keep it a secret. So we did pretty well sharing information across tribes. Obviously, she didn't tell me about the idol. I kind of screwed her over with the Matthew and Cam votes, and then she kind of gets me back a little bit this week and puts me in a little bit of a corner, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, we were pretty good friends. Maybe not as much as the Alexes, but yeah.
Okay.
I think that's something that we didn't really talk about from last episode. Is the thumbnail was of you and Leah, yes, but it was of you and Leah's fight. Yeah. You guys had maybe promised to tell each other everything.
Yeah.
It took a while for her to tell you about her idol.
It did. It took her probably almost a month from when she found it. Fun fact. Yeah. So I think you heard a little bit of the conversation. She kind of told me on the phone that she had something to tell me, maybe about an idol, and I kind of knew it was going to happen. And so what you actually saw there was us having to refilm our theatrics. So me pushing her onto the couch, and then not being too happy that she'd kept a secret from me for a month or so. So
how much did you suspect that you had it?
I didn't suspect anything at all. We were being very straight up with each other, and so at that point I thought we were sharing 100% of our information. She told me about her secret alliance with Mitch that she hadn't told anybody else about, and I was filling her in on every vote and who I was close to on Neela. So she said she didn't have the idol, and I pretty much took that as at face value and was like, all right, gotta be someone else, can't be her. So yeah, it was definitely a shock.
It's interesting because I feel like a lot of Maison people were kind of like, all right, Leah has it pretty soon, but that for whatever reason,
it was a trust, I guess.
Yeah. And I wasn't talking to a lot of other Maisons at that point, so I didn't really know that was kind of the consensus among them. She knew from me that it was probably Tarowski that had the idol, but yeah, I took her word for it. I didn't think she had any reason to lie because we weren't on the same tribe, so it wasn't like I was going to tell anyone about the idol, but she didn't trust me enough, and it kind of came back to bite her in that she lost Matthew and Cam. So
no, fast forwarding back to where we are. Cooper is riding high, feeling great about this Matthew and Cam blindside. But now all of a sudden you're starting to think a little bit about future plans, about potentially flipping on this this Nila tribe that just has a majority now?
Yeah, so the Nila 6 stuck together last week, but Akshay and I, and you kind of see a little bit of it, are very aware that we're on the bottom, especially after Tarowski gives Angela the idol, and the two of them are working really closely that past vote. It was very clear that I was not the fourth of the Tarowski, Kara, and then me, that it was Angela, and that it was me and Akshay very much on the bottom of Nila with nowhere to go because that 4 wasn't breaking. So we had to start talking about when to flip, and we didn't want to do it after Tarowski had just played both his idols for Nila. We wanted to say Nila strong, but obviously things happened, and we could not do it at 9 like we planned.
So what was your? I guess my thing on that is, why would you tell people that you're willing to flip in a vote? Like, I feel like you should. I don't know. Like, what's your logic in like not wanting to wait to tell them then, but telling them now when there's more ample time? Like, oh, we're not going to stick with you now, but down the road, like, we might actually vote with you.
Yeah, this goes back to kind of Leah and I's relationship. Like, it's getting a little rocky at this point, but obviously we're still really good friends. So we want to be as straight up with each other as we can. So I was pretty straight up. I was like, hey, like, obviously we just got the numbers. I don't really want to vote with Maison this vote, but obviously I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to try to keep Liz safe because we were working together this past week. But I want to work with you in the future, maybe possibly next vote. And she kind of took that and ran with it, and didn't really want to sacrifice Brittany or Mitch, who probably would have gone that week if the Nilas had stuck together.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting how you and Leah are like, you know, you're close to each other. You're not going to like take shots at each other, but you're also kind of vying for power at the same time. Like how you would kind of like lie to Leah last week, and now this week she's kind of taking stuff you said and kind of turning it around in order to like kind of vie for position again. I think it's interesting how you're like allies, but you're also kind of like jostling for position in the game.
Yeah, it's a very different dynamic than what the Alexes have. Obviously, they've been kind of seen as just this singular person, the singular Alex T that's just kind of riding the game, even though there's 2 of them. But Leah and I we started on our own tribes, and we're very much playing to win for ourselves. So we're going to work with each other. We're not going to vote each other out. But at the same time, like, and I knew this going into the merge that one of us was probably going to be up 6-4. And we talked a lot about, hey, whoever that is going to be kind of in the driver's seat of the other person's game. So I wanted that to be me. And then obviously I had to lie to do that. And she came back the next week and wasn't very happy about that, and then tried to get a little bit of the power back. So yeah, it's definitely this like power struggle between the 2 of us who want to kind of manipulate the other, but also we're friends and don't really want to vote each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of you guys being friends, though.
Yes.
One of the big like themes of this episode, or not themes, like events, was that Liz found out you and Leah know each other because of a Facebook picture. So it was like a Halloween photo. You were one of the 7 dwarves. I think you were Sleepy.
I was. Very
And then
fitting.
Leah is the evil witch. So can we get more of a story behind this picture?
Yeah. So obviously it's Halloween. Our like friend group from the hall, Leah and I met at freshman year. We're all still really good friends. So we're going out for Halloween, and we are thinking of ideas. We come up, there's a lot of us, so we're like, hey, 7 dwarves, that's nice and easy. We all just get shirts and we pick a dwarf, and that's that. We had a couple extras, so we were like, all right, let's throw in an evil witch. And Leah, very fitting if you know her, but she volunteered quickly for that role. But yeah, so our friend group went out and had a nice little group Halloween costume, but sadly that it didn't stay off Facebook. So
do you know who posted it?
Yes, it was one of our friends, Taylor. Leigh and I had been very good, same as the Alexes, about scrubbing all of our social media before the game even started. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like Liz said, Leigh kind of untagged herself from the post, and we tried to remedy it as quickly as possible because we'd untagged ourselves in everything that we were together and deleted what we needed to. But Leigh couldn't get it done quite fast enough, and obviously Liz saw. So shout out Taylor. Facebook post.
And also, if you're a really eagle-eyed Survivor Michigan fan, you might recognize somebody from a few episodes ago, also in that picture, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw one, Katie Reed.
Oh,
Katie was also in that photo. That is Leah's roommate during the game. Obviously, Leah and I's very good friend. So, yes, if you're a close watcher, you will see Katie in the background of some of the videos in Leia's apartment, as well as that Facebook post.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was interesting that Liz had kind of like come to this discovery about you two, because I feel like it, like, I don't know, in a way it seemed kind of like a bigger deal than the Alexes, because the Alexes everyone kind of knew. It seemed like everyone was kind of like figuring out like, okay, like they're friends, whatever, and for some reason they didn't really care. Everyone was like, whatever. Camping. They went camping, it's fine. Yeah, they're buddies. They're both Alex T. But with you and Leia's, I think it seems like it's a little bit more unexpected, given that you were like start on different tribes. Like now all of a sudden Liz is discovering like, wait, you guys have known each other this whole time. Like, what?
Yeah, and we'll definitely see where this goes. Obviously, like you said, the Alexes were seen as kind of one person. So even if they may or may not have like known each other outside the game and were camping, apple picking, kayaking, whatever it be, people kind of didn't care as much about figuring out their relationship because they were so close in the game that everybody kind of knew they were sharing a lot of info. Where with Leah and I, it was much harder to tell because we started on opposite tribes, and then I kind of screwed her over the week of Cam and Matthew. So, yeah, this may or may not be more damaging info for Leah and I than it was for the Alexes, but I guess we'll see where that post goes and who figures out what.
Yeah, did Liz share with anybody this episode, or is she keeping it to herself for now? I don't remember.
I don't believe she was shown sharing it with anybody. I don't know what's going to come of it in the future, but I won't give any spoilers to that.
Well,
yeah.
Spoilers. No spoilers here.
No spoilers. Not spoilers. So Cooper and Akshay, you guys meet and you're kind of discussing your future plans.
My favorite part about this meeting was Akshay just like literally giving zero fucks. I feel like he was eating his little Sour Punch straws, and he goes, "So we're fucked," which is such an Akshay thing.
Oh my God.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
I love him.
And I mean, I think I tried to kind of explain to him, like, hey, maybe we're not. Like, if we can take out a Maison this vote, like, we can flip over and still be in the majority and start taking out the Alexes and Kara and Angela, who we see as a pretty tight foursome at this point. So we were definitely felt on the bottom of Neela, but, I mean, especially I knew that I had Maison options to go to. And I don't think Akshay really felt the same way, obviously, because he'd been alienating some of them in the past, so he definitely maybe felt a little more in a bad position than I did. But I was trying to the whole week say like, hey, like, no, we're gonna be fine. Like, we have Maisons to work with eventually.
Okay, so far, I think in this episode we've kind of seen Cooper as being the star of the show. Everything's kind of going his way.
Everything's coming up, Cooper.
Everything, yeah. But I think at this point is where it kind of seems like the tide starts to shift a little bit. And now Mitch is kind of realizing that he might have an opportunity to kind of swing the power back to Maison.
Well, yes, because Mitch meets with Akshay to get information on the future plans. I think that's where Akshay kind of tells him about, does Akshay tell him?
Yeah, so Akshay and I were both pretty open, maybe more open than we should have been, I guess, about like, hey, we want to work with you guys. And our main goal was just to get to them first. Right, so don't let Tarowski and Fall on them build the roads, but start building these relationships early and say, hey, like, we want to work with you guys. Maybe not this vote, but like the next one. So we were hoping they would be willing to sacrifice like Brittany or somebody, but obviously you see Mitch just really trying to gather info, and then he and Leah were not too keen on the idea of losing a Maison member again.
Yeah, it seemed like Liz might have been keen on it, like.
Yeah. Liz was down for. I kind of extended Liz like an olive branch and was like, "Hey, like I want to work with you," and she took that very well. And I was hoping that was how Leah and Mitch were going to take it. And even Mitch at first was like, "Okay, like maybe if it's Brittany, like I'll be fine with that." And then Cooper and Akshay will come over and we'll be a strong 5. But yeah, Leah, and then eventually Mitch came around to it that they did not want to sacrifice anybody that week.
Yeah, so I think that this is definitely kind of like a smart move by Mitch to go now to Tarowski and say, hey, Cooper and Akshay want to flip on you guys next week. So you guys got to go after them.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, all the fire is off of Maison, and now it's Tarowski's realizing, like, whoa, we need to be the first ones to make the move.
Yeah.
I think that it was really brilliant because now all of a sudden Mitch and the rest of the Maisons kind of instantly find themselves as kind of having different options to either work with Tarowski or work with Cooper and Akshay.
Yeah. Mitch is no longer at the mercy of waiting for Sir Cooper to give him the opportunity 1 week from now to go say, Mitch wants to fight for himself now, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at earlier is like, I think there could have been a way for you to go at this better, Coop, about not being so, I don't know if being open to everybody right away was your best move at this point. I know that you wanted to make inroads to people and start building relationships, but I don't know if you had to make relationships in saying that what your exact plan of those relationships were, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think at this point I'd lied a lot in this game. I was telling a lot of different people, a lot of different things, and obviously people are kind of catching on to that. So part of me did start wanting to like come clean and be more open with people about like, hey, like this is what I'm gonna do, and then go do it. So I was trying to do that a little bit too, but yeah, obviously it didn't work out, and I probably could have done it a little bit better. But
no, I get that.
Yeah, in retrospect, it's easy to say
like that. Yeah.
But I could see you and Akshay trying to jostle yourselves into like a swing vote position, and I think that Mitch kind of just saw that and tried to take advantage of it. And, yeah, was able. I think it's crazy that you see this 6-4 majority that Neela has, and all of a sudden this 6 is all going to be voting for each other at tribal council, or they're all looking to gun for each other now, which is a pretty big swing to happen after literally like the week before they just played 2 idols for each other and had this extremely coordinated plan. Now all of a sudden they're just like breaking apart like in the next week. You know, I think that to me was very surprising.
Yeah. So now we get to the challenge, which turns out to first be a merge.
Whoa, shocker.
Drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs. Akshay was very concerned about this buff dropping. He wanted his buff back.
I hope he still has it.
He still sleeps with his blue Neela buff to this day.
Is that true?
I don't think that's true, but I want it to be.
Can we ask? Can somebody who has a number text him and ask if he still has his buff? I
will.
That's really important to me.
I got it.
He was the him looking on the ground at his buff was the thumbnail.
That was the thumbnail. Yeah.
Another unique thumbnail. Akshay. I thought that was funny. It just pauses there. He's just standing there, just kind of looking off into space.
Yeah. It was just like kind of just like a little kid with his like dropped toy, just like pick it up for me.
Like his dropped McDonald's toy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was so good that it was the cover of the episode.
Yeah, great cover.
So we have a little bonding ceremony where everybody's painting the rock at night.
If you don't go to Michigan, the Rock is this thing that a lot of people do a bunch of different paint on for different organizations and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a fun bonding activity. So what that requires is some cans of spray paint. And little on the bottom of one of these cans of spray paint was a little something special.
Ooh.
Oh.
There was. What?
Yeah.
What?
So,
yes.
Did you go into that merge thing? I know Brittany was talking about how she was really keen on looking for a clue. Was that on the top of your mind?
So I think it was on a lot of people's minds, and you kind of had to balance how aggressive you wanted to be with it. That was the thing. So there were definitely other people who were super aggressive about going right over to all this stuff. I mean, I think Leah was over there, Brittany was over there, Tarowski was over there pretty fast, and there were people who were just like very on top of it and openly kind of looking for any clue. And so I was kind of in the middle of the pack, and I really wasn't trying to be too aggressive about it, but I just kind of picked up one of the cans of spray paint, and this little piece of paper was kind of just hanging off the bottom and happened to just slip it into my pocket really fast. So I really did kind of just get lucky with it, honestly.
Nice work.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
we can get more to the clue stuff later.
Yeah.
But
So everybody spray paints the rock. They write their new tribe name, Gora, and the paint's kind of like dripping, so you can kind of like you can only really barely see what it says.
It looks like a horror movie.
It
like Gora and like blood dripping off of it. Like I feel like that's some like Japanese horror movie. Like that sounds really good. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
What does Gora mean? Like,
Yeah.
how'd you guys come up with that? Was it
Yeah.
Matthew Israel came back and came up with it?
Oh, man.
Sadly, it was not Matthew Israel.
Oh,
so Neela's original tribe name was Akshay's idea. It means blue in Hindi. And so we kind of really just followed through with that. And Gora is white in Hindi. So yeah, so we stuck with that theme, and that was pretty much all there was to it.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you guys painted the rock with a white spray paint for Gora. It looks kind of gory to me.
Sam Groner.
Boo.
Sam Groner, yeah.
Okay, well, immunity challenge happens. This one was it was interesting to kind of see. Maybe George's parents weren't around this time to help film. we really only have a shot of the little, I don't know, PVC ladder thing. And then we have one little still shot of the tribe that kind of switches back and forth from.
I was actually laughing when it was just the close up of the ladder, and then these were like chucked out of nowhere. For some reason, it's so funny to me. I was like laughing the whole time, especially when they miss.
It made the noise it made. It was just really loud, just smacked on the ground, and everyone be like, "Oh."
Cooper, are you usually good at ladder ball? Was this a fluke?
I would say I'm normally at least okay. I mean, that night was not my night. Holy cow. And I mean, I think you saw a lot of them, like, you only had like 5 shots, so you kind of just like tossed it up there and hoped it didn't kind of spin off. You saw like Thalls at the end, like, how many times, like both of his. But yeah, so it was a little bit of luck, but it was really not my night in general. I'm not going to say I was that close to winning that challenge.
At least you scored more than Brittany. You got 1 point.
I did.
Brittany got 0. Sad.
I was on the board.
Angela started off with 6, and for a while, it looks like she might be the person that was going to come away with the victory.
Yeah.
So Leah comes up and scores 1 more point than Angela, and ends up winning immunity.
And 6 more points than you, Cooper.
Yeah,
I feel like
I know.
And
I know.
She won this round with the Leah
She
versus
did.
Cooper
She
shot.
did. She had the ping pong paddles. I took the memory challenge, and this one was her. So we were going back and forth still.
Yeah, because remember the memory challenge, she was not defeated by Maison.
She was defeated by Cooper.
Those
are Leah's words.
Yeah. So there we go. Leah has won the first immunity challenge at the merge. So congratulations, Leah. We'll see how to keep a tally of individual immunities. We have Leah with 1, Liz with 1, and Kara with 1.
Mm-hmm.
So no guy has won immunity yet.
All girls. We will see if that trend
Girl
continues. Who knows?
Oh,
Wow.
How about that?
So yeah, let's get to the more the idol hunt thing now. So you see this really weird diagram on this clue, and you think it's at the diag.
Yeah,
It's definitely a weird thing for a clue to have instead of words, you know.
It was. I was not expecting that when I opened it, but I mean, anybody who goes to Michigan, I think, like, if you opened that, you pretty much immediately think diag. Like, it's the center of campus. It has all the lines running through it. And if you're familiar with campus, like, I was even only a sophomore, and it was very clear right away that it was the diag. So I go there that night, and I search around. I'm searching in trees. I'm searching under benches, anywhere I can think of, and nothing's coming up. So didn't find it then, but we'll see what happens in the future, or if any more clues get released. Ooh. But yeah, no luck for me that night.
So after this, we are full on scheming until tribal council, and there's a lot going on.
Especially for the first merge vote is always a fun one. That's always when everybody really starts to, I feel like, go hard. Not that I feel like last episode people were going pretty hard, but when you're all in the same tribe together, it definitely gets interesting.
Yeah, so I guess the core of all this is like Mitch narrating his and Leah's plan, which apparently they've had for a while. He made it seem like it was kind of complicated. Do you want to like break this down?
Yeah.
All right. So Mitch's plan. He tells Liz and Leah, like, "Hey, I just threw Cooper and Akshay under the bus to Tarowski," and they're like, "Wait, what?" like, you did this without telling us. And it seemed like Liz was kind of upset about it. And like Mitch was kind of like, what's the deal with that? Like she seemed like willing to kind of roll over and let one of the Maisons go. And it seems like from Mitch's perspective, like he's just doing what he has to do to protect them. I think a part of Mitch maybe was like expecting them to be grateful for this. And then they were kind of like a little bit like mad that he hadn't told them what he was going to do beforehand. And I think because they kind of have this little secret thing with Cooper that, Mitch doesn't really know about, that there really is a relationship there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, so was the point of this plan to basically tell the Alexes that Cooper and Akshay were planning to flip later, so they might as well flip on them first?
Yeah.
That was the essence of it.
And that's brilliant because now you're getting everybody just kind of like turn on each other. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I was a little bit confused in this scenario whether Cooper and Akshay are the swing votes or whether the Maisons are the swing votes. Because from Mitch's perspective, he's thinking, I just turn the Neelas against each other. Now I can either go with Cooper and Akshay or I can go with Tarowski. But at the same time, all it takes is for Cooper and Akshay to switch back, which I guess there's very little chance of this happening now. But yeah, I was kind of wondering about that perspective, whether Cooper and Akshay really are the swing votes or whether the relationship between the Neelas are just so broken now that like there really is no chance of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, so at the start of the week, I mean, we were at least to each other, we're very Neela 6 strong. Look, we just come off some great votes and everything. But as the week went on, Mitch and Leah did a pretty fantastic job of tearing down any trust that Akshay and I had for the Alexes and Kara and Angela. So by the time it was all over and they'd gone back and forth a couple times and gotten us to kind of vote for each other, I mean, that was pretty much all that there was for me. Like I, at that point, knew that I was not going to be working with the Alexes or Kara or Angela anytime in the near future. So I felt like I had pretty much had to swing over to the Maison side. And yeah, I mean, like Mitch said, like they kind of put themselves in that swing position that Akshay and I had worked so hard to put us in. So they then kind of got to choose whether they wanted to go after Tarowski or go after me after they'd kind of forced me to go and flip a week earlier than I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it seemed like originally Liz was talking about how like basically you were the swing because she said that she put all her eggs in your basket. So,
yeah, what was that quote?
Yeah. You have Liz's
like,
eggs, Cooper?
Apparently I have all of Liz's eggs.
Can I see your basket?
It's hidden. You can't touch my basket, Jack.
Okay, I'm sorry.
you know, Easter's coming up, so this is
True.
George's going along with the theme again.
There you go.
Aw.
Then you
Wow.
can see all my eggs and all Liz's eggs.
So now we've had a Christmas themed episode and now an Easter themed episode.
And it's Halloween. And Halloween. Oh my god.
And
Yeah,
Valentine's.
Halloween with
Yeah.
like the scary Gora dripping.
Gora. And I'm not going to lie, there were a lot of fireworks at this tribal. So 4th of July.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Wow. So Tarowski's kind of talking now about how, you know what, I never trusted Cooper anyways, and there's been a while coming, you know. He's ready to flip on Cooper, and this is all he needs to really decide, like, okay, I'm coming after Cooper now. When I hear there's a rat in my group, he has to get whacked. I'm Tony fucking Soprano.
Oh my god.
That was a wonderful, wonderful quote.
Honestly, how is I Am Tony fucking Soprano not the episode title? Like I feel like that had to be the episode
I
title.
know. I was gonna speculate that maybe he has an even better title down the line.
Oh. Yeah,
that
maybe.
Oh, that's
George
true.
has to save.
I
I don't know.
He has had a lot of very good one-liners this season.
No, Tarowski is so great in confessionals. I honestly think that he's all around like really great to watch. Like he's arguably, I think, playing the best strategic game as of right now. Maybe a little too much so that he's playing the best strategic game that's putting a threat on him. But he's also, I think, really, really good at confessionals. And he's really playing into like this villainous scheming role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's only slightly distracted by the thunder outside, you know?
Yeah.
It didn't really shake him up that much.
Oh my god.
As I'm gonna quote Big Tom from Survivor Africa. If you ride on the white horse long enough, you're going to get shot at. And now we're seeing Trowski. Yeah, he's been riding on the horse. He's been kind of, strutting his big legs all over the place, finding idols and using them. And now all of a sudden he's kind of becoming this threat. And he's getting votes, or at least his side is going to be getting votes. And he kind of finds him, Thal, Angela, and Kara now kind of in the minority for. So he's been playing a strategic game, but I think now all of a sudden at this point in the episode we're seeing he might really be in danger. So he kind of has to figure out, how am I going to get some numbers back to my side? Because Maison seems like they're not going to be on his side. And now Cooper and Akshay are potentially going to be flipping. What does he do?
What does Tony Soprano?
What does Tony Soprano do?
Wait, is this Tony Soprano or is it Tony Vlachos? Sorry, it's a little spoiler, Sarah, close your ears. But because it seems like right now he's reaching into his bag of tricks and he's pulling out a little something to pull over Akshay. He's pulling out what appears to be a hidden immunity idol.
Oh my gosh.
If it's real though, then Cooper was robbed from an idol by Trowski 2 times.
Yeah. So this is really interesting of Trowski telling the Akshay, like, hey, if you stick with me and you don't vote me out this time, I'm gonna give you the idol. Bold.
Yeah, Cooper's just looking very unamused.
I'm sitting over here in silence, just even remembering all of this. Yeah. So
I feel like Akshay didn't even doubt him at all.
Yeah,
like he didn't seem to question it really.
Yeah, what do you guys think of how Trowski approaches Akshay, knowing Trowski essentially says, "Hey, I know I'm getting votes. Here's this idol, maybe real, maybe not." But instead of playing it, he says, I will give this to you if you vote with me and potentially force a tie. So what do you guys think about then Akshay's decision to go along with that?
If it's an idol, why wouldn't he just play it on himself?
Exactly. If you know it's going to get tied,
get votes,
then why would you not play it for yourself?
Why are you playing doing this other thing? So
that's what really that's the part where it kind of breaks down a little bit. But I could see if it was a real idol. Also, Trowski has nothing binding him to giving it to Akshay after Akshay votes with them. He could just he could use Akshay to get the vote he wants and then keep the idol.
Yeah, and for Akshay, so if this is a real idol, like why is it so risking like going to rocks where you have a 1 in whatever chance of being voted out just for the chance that this guy actually follows through with you and gives you an idol? Or you could just vote him out right now and flush the idol and you have the opportunity to get it next week, True. I'm not sure if Akshay is really being the most rational here in any circumstance, but I'm sure if Akshay is listening to this, he'd love to call in and give his opinion. But
yeah, all right. So wow, that is a crazy development pre-tribal council. We're now getting to tribal, and what happens? But Akshay decides he's going to flip.
I feel like nothing really that wild happens in the questions. Really, nothing really super interesting.
Yeah,
nobody's kicking.
No kicks. Kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no kicks this time.
Yeah,
not as many fireworks in this tribal as we had in the last one.
Well, the fireworks are coming out, not in the questions,
right?
Not
in
the
votes.
In the
votes.
Yeah,
there was a lot of cat and mouse, and me and Trowski putting on our fronts about, we're still Neil strong, we're definitely voting together, and really it was very obvious that we were both getting votes. So. Yeah.
Did you know the time that you were going to be getting votes?
I mean, obviously I'd heard things from Leah and Mitch, who then had come back to me and Akshay and said, hey, now they're voting for you. So I was pretty sure that they were going to vote for me. And I think you see that in my face. Like, I wasn't too surprised when I saw my name. I didn't know for sure. I mean, we had talked to Trowski about like voting. I forget who it was, probably Liz. So I thought there was a chance maybe they'd put Liz down, but I wasn't super shocked that it was me.
But you probably were shocked when you saw the 5th vote come up for yourself.
Yes. So they start out with the 5 Trowskis. Boom, right off the bat, George reads them. And I was kind of surprised he did that, right? Because normally you go back and forth. So that was already a little bit of a red flag. And then 4 Coopers. And I expected Trowski on the last one. And flipped around, and it's another Cooper. So my first reaction, actually, I looked over and I looked at Mitch. And kind of was like, what did you just do? Like, I was like, it didn't even cross my mind that Akshay could have done that. So, and then Mitch was like, wasn't me. And Akshay's just kind of over in the bottom corner there, like, not really saying much. And
uncharacteristically silent.
Yes, very uncharacteristic.
That should have been your red flag.
It was. It was a red flag very soon because, yes, it was apparent after that he was the one. And I was confused at that point because, I mean, Akshay was my closest ally, really. I mean, I have Leah, but I've kind of been lying to her. But I hadn't really lied to Akshay all game, who was really the only person. So I, at that time, was very confused about what was happening.
Okay. Also, the world wants to know, what was the vote for you that everyone was laughing at?
Yeah, so on the revote, the first vote that George reads, I believe it said cute per.
Oh.
So I got a couple laughs out of people.
Who was it that wrote it?
I actually don't even know. I'm gonna assume it was probably
insider info.
If I had to guess, I'm gonna go with Angela. Just because it had to have been one of the Alexes or Akshay, Angela, or Kara. I don't know. I'm going to say Angela, but that's a wild guess. It really might not have been. Actually,
it was Thal.
I now think it was Thal. If
Yeah.
I'm remembering this right, I think it was Thal.
I can see it being Thal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just very surprised that it ended up tying a second time.
Mm-hmm.
That was what really confused me almost as much as Akshay flipping, honestly. Like that everyone is willing to go to rocks. I was just surprised that the Maison are willing to go to rocks for you and Trowski, because this is just like, and my assumption was like they just wanted one of you two to go home, but they're willing to risk their own game to ensure that specifically either you were safe or Trowski was safe.
I guess I can see the logic in that, Cooper is putting his life on the line here to work with you guys, and it's very obvious that Tarowski is not really going to work with you guys long term. I don't know. I feel like with Mitch though, why doesn't I feel like Mitch should have flipped if anybody, because it seems like he's the one who's most willing to entertain the thought of it at least, or go over to, I don't know.
That would have been funny if he would have flipped a second time to avoid rocks again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you see that Thal has flipped, Mitch has kind of flipped in his own way. So there's been people that really have not wanted to go to rocks in the past.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the first merge vote. There's still 10 people left. And I'm flipping over and I'm working with the four Maisons, who obviously I know Leah. I've got a good relationship established with Liz at this point. There's a confessional of Brittany saying that, we'd met and gotten off on a good foot and she trusted me. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't really talked to Mitch or Brittany that much, so it was definitely scary for me. But who do you guys think maybe should have flipped or should nobody have flipped? Whether it was Brittany or Mitch or even Akshay on the revote, should he have flipped?
Yeah, I definitely. Well, one thing that you guys have going for you on or at least Maison plus you guys going for you is that Leah has immunity, so it's one better odds, and also a difference between the previous votes. Instead of it being kind of a 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 chance, there's not a lot of people. It's I think 1 in 7 eligible people to draw rocks, which is much better odds. I feel like I would even personally want to be more willing to risk 1 in 7 than 1 in 3.
I don't know. I guess if Brittany or Mitch, I would have thought would be one of the ones to flip, because I guess I could see it damaging their relationships with Leah and Liz maybe. And, now they're down 4-5 in the final 9, assuming that Akshay stays with Tarowski. What if they would have drawn the rock, though? If they would have drawn the rock, we would be talking about it as the stupidest move in history to have gone to rocks for Cooper, who literally just flipped to your side this week and you barely even have a relationship with them. And the fact that Kara draws it, I think, definitely helps the case as to why, it was now in retrospect, it's good they didn't. But, in the moment, I think is a very, very risky move that, I don't know. I'm not sure I would have done that. It's just, to me, it seems ridiculous to go to rocks to somebody for someone that really has just joined your side. Leah and Liz, it makes sense because they've developed something further, but Brittany and Mitch, it's maybe they've talked to Cooper a little bit, but I don't know, not to go rocks for him that's just surprising to me.
I think objectively the dumbest was Akshay not flipping. I think that it just really did not make sense.
I wouldn't think that it makes sense for him to flip the second time though, because at this point he's already in so deep. Like flipping again is going to piss everybody off.
I don't know. I feel like
I feel like at that point.
What? I just feel like what does Akshay have going to rocks to save Thal? I mean, to save Tarowski.
Well, the idol. He thinks he's going to get the idol at this point, and now he's. I feel like he's committing
I just
to.
Feel like I said before, like even if it is a real idol, like why do you think Tarowski would give it to you?
I think that he had committed to working with them by voting.
Literally, you're like the person who's like been close to the whole game in Cooper is who you're like going to rocks to vote out.
Not saying that it makes sense.
No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. I feel like it makes the least sense of anybody. Like he should have flipped.
I think that it doesn't make sense for him to flip. After you voted for Cooper, you've kind of already burned that bridge.
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I feel like you vote for Cooper that one time and you just feel like, I'm sorry, like Tarowski got really in my head or whatever. Like I feel like it's more easy to salvage relationship after that. Like people have already salvaged relationships after flips and stuff like that. I feel like would be much harder at this point for Akshay to integrate into this group of like Tarowski and stuff where he knows he's still on the bottom. Nothing has changed. He's still going to be on the bottom. Even if he has the idol, he's still going to be on the bottom of these 4 people.
I think that him deciding not to flip was him deciding which side he wants to be with. And then maybe not.
Well, then I'm thinking that then the original thing not flipping is dumb. I don't know.
I don't think that it makes. Yeah, I definitely don't agree with his decision in the first place to flip. But I can understand why if he's committing, like I'm committing to vote for Cooper, I'm committing to work with the Alexes, that he's just deciding, you know what, like I've made that decision, I've burned that bridge, like I'm going to vote again for Cooper. That's what I'm doing. Like I can see that being his reasoning. Not that I think that it was a good idea, but I can understand in the second vote why he would have done the same thing. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe, I don't know. Do you think that he could have salvaged it if he decided to flip back and get rid of Tarowski in the revote?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think that would have salvaged the relationship. Him even writing my name down once, like I said, I really thought it was like Mitch or somebody who had like tried to tie it. Like there was no way that it was Akshay in my mind. So the fact that he even did it once, it would have been pretty bad. But I really don't think he even had the option of flipping on the revote personally. So in his mind, I think he's thinking by making that move that he's going to force one of the Maisons to flip on the revote. So if he flips, he's actually just going to, that's what's going to send it to rocks. I think in his mind, that's what he was thinking. In his mind,
Maison is flipping.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it probably for him made most sense that Brittany or Mitch would be the ones flipping in the revote. And ultimately they decide not to. Yes. But he probably had figured that they would be.
Yeah. I think the other side's plan very much was dependent on Mitch especially flipping on the revote, knowing that he kind of had inroads with Thal and they kind of already worked on him a little bit, that he had flipped before. So the expectation was that Mitch out of everyone was probably going to be the one to flip. And thank God he didn't.
Yeah, Mitch wasn't a snitch for once.
No, Mitch was not a snitch. Mm-hmm. And now we're the new Maison, as you see in the car ride.
Yeah.
5 of us.
Oh, so there it goes. It ties the second time, and we are drawing rocks.
Well, but first, there's a fun little montage of trying to get a unanimous decision, which I feel like that there's no way in hell this is happening.
Yeah.
So, this lasted, like, the montage kind of alluded to it, but this lasted a while. Like, it was probably 15 minutes that George, let us talk and, really try to hash things out. And you see people kind of all over the place and starting to, huddle in smaller groups. Mm-hmm. But immediately it ties 4-4, and I kind of look over to Leah, and I just I literally shake my finger. I just go, no, you're immune. Yeah. It has to be unanimous. This is not happening. Mm-hmm. If it's gonna happen, Tarowski's going. And I actually think the Maisons kind of started to break down actually at the end of the 15 minutes. They kind of had Mitch and Brittany at least considering trying to get Liz and Leah then to just unanimously say it's Cooper. But overall, there wasn't enough of a push, and the Maisons kind of knew that their only hope of getting the majority back was stick with me. We have the advantage in the rock draw because Leia's immune, and let's stick this out and just hope we win it, and then we'll have this new 5 majority.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then the rocks come out, and Cooper perches up on the ledge to get the best seat in the house.
I wanted to be the first person. I need to be the first person to know who had that white rock. I was getting the best view.
What was your gut telling you? Who do you think it was going to be, if you remember?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I was just really actually. You know what? Who I wanted to be? I wanted to be was Akshay. Very badly. I was like, this would make a great episode for Akshay to, in my mind, just really fuck up horribly in voting for me, and for him to then draw the rock after sending it to a tie. So I thought that would have been really ironic. But Kara was fine with me.
Yeah. That's why I say, like, in the universe where Akshay does draw that rock, we're all 3 of us are like shitting on Akshay for not flipping the second time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So Kara, the one and the Karan and only,
Coxswain herself.
the coxswain herself, drew the white rock.
That was sad. For some reason, I had a feeling Liz was gonna draw it. I have no idea why. I was just like, Liz is gone. It was weird.
Yeah.
But then I was surprised that Kara was so upset for some reason. Like, she was crying, which for some reason I did not expect her to cry. But I think she was definitely more invested than it showed.
Yeah, we did not get a lot of Kara content throughout the season, but it definitely seems like she was pretty into it. Maybe didn't film confessionals for whatever reason, or I don't know.
We did get a good couple moments of her. She won immunity. She got sent to Exile Island while under her crutches. She had that great time of looking for the idol with the Alexes that one time after it had already been found, but they looked with her anyways.
Yeah.
We had her little beef with Jonathan. Kara had a little bit of a ride through the game.
Yeah.
All right, and now we have a little bit of Jane Sider info.
Woo!
Let's go.
And honestly, none of us know what it is, so we're gonna find out together right now.
All right.
Oh boy.
I think we are going to find out who wrote Cute.
What's up, nerds? Yes, it's me, George, and this week I'm coming to you with a bunch of insider information. I know you guys have a very big double episode kind of situation, so I thought I could give as much as I could. It'll all be for the merge episode just because there was a lot of random stuff that I just couldn't include in the episode, so let's get started. For starters, the actual rock painting itself, when the merge started, was a bunch of chaos, basically. Everyone was painting the rock, they were drinking hot chocolate, and yes, they were trying to find an idol clue. And during that time, Tarowski would not stop staring at me. He was following me around everywhere. He was trying to pry any ounce of information out of me. He knew there was going to be an idol clue somewhere, and he would not leave me alone. I even panned over at one point, that's in the episode, and he's like, why are you following me? Why are you looking at me? Dude, you were following me. Come on. Also, the tribe name itself, Gora, it came from the word for white in Hindi. Akshay actually came up with that, just like he did with Neela. And, the buff was white, so they thought they could go with that. So that's why their name is Gora. Last thing I wanted to talk about was actually at Tribal Council. And you might have seen during the re-vote that everyone just started breaking out into laughter for one of the votes for Cooper. And sadly, the footage of me for that part is gone, so you don't get to see what happened. But Thal actually voted for Cooter, Cooter, for some reason. And in the insane, tense situation, you couldn't help but just laugh for it. It made no sense. He just wanted to, I guess, do a little jab at Cooper and misspell his name, but everyone was just so confused that they're like, what? So, yeah, that's why everyone started laughing. But good luck on your episode this week, guys. Can't wait to listen to it.
Wait, what does cooter mean? I'm sorry.
Well, there you go.
Cooter. Thank you, George. As always, that awesome insider info. Yeah, we got a little bit from Cooper already, but I'm glad he's able to fill in the blanks. That's very funny. I can just picture Tarowski just walking around, like thinking he's Toad Spam, just like giving you a death stare.
I guess I was wondering if that was maybe why we didn't get to see the footage of Cooper finding the note, is because George didn't want to make it too obvious.
Mm.
Like,
I think you did
I
see
think
it.
there's a little
Did we see
section.
it?
There is a small clip if
Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
of me kind of
Yeah.
slyly
Yeah.
taking it off of
Oh, wow.
the underside of the
Yeah.
can.
Oh, there you go.
Tarowski
He was
missed it.
able
So
to-
did you.
He was able to do it underneath the gazing stare of Alex Tarowski. I think the Hawkeye of Matthew has now been reborn through Alex. All right, so we've had a good time of reviewing episodes 7 and 8. I think before we sign off for the night, we should have a quick social media segment. It's been a little while since we've done that.
Yeah, it's been like 20 minutes since we've done that.
From Matthew's Reddit post.
All right, that was last episode though. That was the last. That was whatever.
It was weeks ago, Sarah.
Yeah, weeks ago. So what we want to do this time is because there's a lot of fan reaction to Survivor Michigan, so we're gonna get back into that. We did a segment I think pretty early on the podcast of reading through some fan comments. Now we're gonna see because some of them are getting a little bit dicey. I think people have a lot of opinions on Survivor Michigan. They're very invested. So let's look through some of the ones that we have for episodes 7 and 8. Here's one from Dane Golson, episode 7. Me. All right, it's 2 a.m. Probably time to go to sleep. Survivor Michigan is uploaded. Me. Make that 3 a.m.
Love the commitment.
Love the
That
commitment.
was definitely me one night too.
Yeah, I think I woke up my neighbors. I was cheering so loudly at the Nila Tribal at 3 a.m. Holy crap, what an intense episode. That was Jabawabs. I think we've looked through one of their comments before. Matthew Israel, peace out to a true legend of the game. We will miss you, Cam. Oh, fake this out. Matthew was a fun character. Sad to see him go.
To Matthew say that about himself.
That was actually not Matthew. That was
Matthew.
it was maybe one of Matthew's alt accounts.
Yeah, he forgot to sign into the alt account. He didn't have his name account.
Pulling a Kevin Durant there.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one from Akshay. I feel the need, and I need to explain myself a little bit for this episode. At the time, due to my poor strategy of trying to turn into a villain, I definitely did go after Brittany a little more than I should have, and there was some very real tension there for a little bit, as we were rivals in the game. I also wasn't completely sure if the very light contact she made with my back at the previous tribal was completely unintentional, so I kind of zeroed in on that. Luckily, with the stress of the game behind us, I got to know Brittany much better, and I do consider her one of my closest friends from season 1. I'm super glad I met her.
Aww.
Akshay. Getting soft on us.
Getting soft on us. Wow, the villain's ice heart has been melting. That's great.
Akshay is a softie on the inside.
We have original Maison Bros, Matthew and Cam out in the same episode. Sad face. Matthew is a great character, and with you, he would have made jury. Despite Eddie, but I think we all know this is another one of Matthew's.
He's a lot of alts.
Yeah. I feel really sorry for Matthew. He was amazing, but man, the original Neela nailed it this week. You have a lot of. I think it seems like a lot of fan reaction. It's pretty disappointed that Matthew got voted out. I think Matthew's a great pick for an all-star cast.
Whoa. Interesting.
Ooh, here's one. Unpopular opinion / hot take. Matthew was not robbed at all.
Oh.
Given equal opportunity to find another idol, the clue that Tarowski found but fell short. And it was 3 versus 3 at the Tribal Council. How is it that being robbed, he had multiple options, yet fell short to get the idol and utilize other options? You guys are confused.
I agree with Mark Blancio. Like, that's what I was saying.
That's
like,
what you're saying, yeah.
I don't think it's possibly fully, completely screwed in this game. Maybe under some weird twist circumstances, but I always feel like there's something either you could do or you should have done earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mark.
Can we get more confessionals from our queen, Kara? Thank you.
Kara.
That's from
Please
MS.
and thank you.
I think, I'm not sure on this, but I think I've heard, didn't George say that she only filmed one confessional? Yeah.
He didn't have a lot to go off of, and she was always really busy, so.
Ooh, Victor the Penguin. It was a Hummer.
It was a Hummer.
It was a Hummer to see Matthew go, especially with Akshay still in the game. At least Cam was also voted out.
I find it
That's a
interesting.
lot of love from Victor the Penguin. Wow. Akshay says sorry about that. And then they respond, nah, it's not your fault. It's your tribe's fault. Okay, this person, I don't know what they're doing here. They're kind of confusing me. They can't even spell bummer correctly. So.
Maybe they meant Hummer.
Yeah.
Maybe they did. It was
a Hummer.
It was a Hummer.
Hmm.
It was a big
Like-
car.
Hmm.
Or Hummer. Is the car is like a.
It's a
Hmm.
I think it's somehow referring to like the car curse in the in Survivor.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was a Hummer. Like Matthew
Yeah.
won a Hummer, but he got out of the game.
True.
Mm.
I
He
don't
won
know
the
what
fans'
won.
hearts, but could not win the title of Sole Survivor.
This next person, this is the same person that just talked about Queen Kara. So says, I only dislike Leia. I can't
Queen
stand her.
Leia.
Hopefully she will leave soon.
Oh,
Ooh.
boy.
Wow. Another fan, Alan JD4 Life Productions responded, boo.
Boo.
I love Queen Leia. we have some Leia support out
I'm
there.
on board with Alan there.
I'm board with Alan. Team Alan. Yeah.
Tina.
But Alan also said, you stupid Mitch the snitch. Now Maison down in numbers. Sad.
What could Mitch have done?
I don't know. Luke, this other guy stuck up for Mitch. He says, if Mitch voted for Akshay the second time, Akshay and Matthew would be safe and there'd probably be a rock draw. And then Brittany and Mitch would have gone to rocks. He was just protecting himself. So, we have some fans here. Some people are saying some pretty mean stuff. It seems like everybody is getting some. I'm not going to read through the really negative comments because I don't really want to give too much publicity to those because some of them are, I think, just kind of really very personal, unnecessary.
These are real people out here. Okay?
Yeah. But I think that when that happens, the good thing is there are people also sticking up for the people that have been
People
trashed.
are giving them a little kick in the back for what they're saying.
They are getting a little kick in the back. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so Cooper, do you have any parting words, any other wisdom you want to give us about your time so far on Survivor Michigan?
I mean, it's been an absolute blast. Obviously, you've seen that. I've had a lot of fun digging in the sand and whatnot. But it really, all I will say is it really only gets better from here. So, as hard as that may seem, it only gets better. So there's better tribals and even better strategy to come. So
Wow.
it's going to be a wild ride,
I'm so
an
excited.
absolute wild ride.
Subtle flex there.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
All
I'm
right.
excited.
Well, thank you for coming on. Good luck with the rest of the game that happened 2 years ago.
Yes, thank you. Wish me luck. I hope I win.
I hope you win, Cooper.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks for having me on, Sarah. I will see you in Chicago this weekend. I can't wait. But yeah, I can't wait to see you. And thanks again for having me on, guys.
All right. Be sure to tune in next week. I'm sure we're going to have another great episode. We'll have another great podcast for you guys. Yeah, go blue.
Go blue.
Go Maze.
Go
Maze on.
Amazing.
Go,
It is off.
go Ross. All right. I'm done.
You're done. Go raw.
Go, go, go.